So, recently watching a few Doshington videos got me wanting to play Factorio. Instead of only playing Factorio to make videos, I've decided to make videos about playing Factorio. I'm going to take as long as I need and make these videos as short or as long as I want. I mean, like and subscribe if you wish, but most importantly, enjoy. Starting out, we begin tearing up what we can of our destroyed ship to steal its iron plates. Surprising that I was stuck in a crap ton of trees, I chopped a bunch down in an effort to escape and begin searching for valuable and extremely industrious metals. Before continuing further, though, I changed my character's color to green because, well, yes. I started out by mining coal to jumpstart the beginnings of a new age, using copious amounts of wood to craft a chest for the coal to build up in while I explored further. I found some iron, and I set up a nearby furnace to smelt some plates while I continued my forested exploration. There were a lot of trees, like, everywhere. Good thing they consume pollution, otherwise I'd really hate them. With the iron plates, I made more coal miners and made a cold snake, which just infinitely feeds coal into itself for ease of mining. However, I didn't have a lot of furnaces for future smelting, so I needed to find more stone. I did after cutting through hundreds of trees. I tried looking for boulders, but there weren't any around, so I stuck with mining up stone. Once I gathered plenty of them, I crafted them up into furnaces for later. I even set up a miner to gather stones for me while I worked on other important issues, that being iron and copper. I didn't need much copper, but iron would always be a need. I attempted mining iron by hand, but it wasn't going to cut it, so I ended up making a more efficient method by having the miner feed directly into the furnace instead of transporting it by hand. With that settled, I needed to handle another issue: stone. I shouldn't really be having to worry about it, but with 0 rocks nearby, gathering tons of stone was a must. I decided that simply automating stone mining with extra coal miners would do the trick and stuck with it. Because I was going to need some copper to start with, I began a small copper setup, which copied my iron setup. It wasn't pretty, but the trees would keep the pollution at bay. I also began to start of power generation by setting up some early steam boilers. I am an idiot, though, for bringing the steam boilers to the water and not the water to the steam boilers. After gathering enough resources, I researched automation, which would allow me to begin the actual industrialization. This meant that the electric drills I had been slowly crafting could finally be put to use, starting with coal. Also, because I had yet to unlock logistics, I couldn't make the best mining setups yet, but that'll come in a minute. After setting up coal, I got a primitive iron mining setup going and a furnace stack using an old design from previous videos. It will work for now. I began the research of logistics, but was feeling adventurous and decided to improve my iron smelting stack and turn it into a blueprint. To explain what it does, instead of having all 3 belt lines, one with the material feed and 2 that converge into one belt with the exports, I instead have 2 belts, the feed and export lines. It's more compact because it uses up less space to intake and output the resources. One belt is the feed belt and one belt is the export belt, right next to each other. Long inserters can be used to reach for the feed belt or to the output the belt plates onto the belt. Yikes. Significantly decreasing the amount of spacing required. All in all, I still ended up having to create a staggered pattern due to the need for power, and because I didn't have underground belts and better power lines, it will have to do now. Using the excess iron, I created a simple automated crafter to make more belts for me while I did other things. Other things being, I started crafting a crafter to craft electronics to make inserters and long inserters that were taking forever to craft. Whew. That's a lot of craft in one sentence. Now that I had electronics to spare, I swapped out the belt crafter for an inserter crafter and waited a while. I also made a bunch of long inserters as well, but that's unimportant. I stocked up the steam engines with all the crafted machines and materials. I began the new, true expansion. Now that I had access to underground belts and such, I could easily and heavily improve the miner setup design. So I started with coal first. This design used only underground belts for the most part and has a lot of reach. Also, because I don't know a lot about belt balancing and splitting, I tried watching a YouTube video on splitting it 3 ways, but nothing helped. In the end, I had to design it on my own. The main idea here is that the first splitter routes the resources into another splitter, which splits its half and routes through a third splitter. The extra materials from the previous splitter will get rerouted and evenly split. Can you already see the issue? Because of how it's set up, which I only noticed during my script writing, it's inefficient, and also entirely incorrect. Here's what the revamped version will look like, but I haven't actually fixed it yet. Basically, it will get output into 32%, 34%, 34% belts, meaning only one belt is slightly less than the other two. But it doesn't matter. Ignoring that blunder, I routed the coal into the steam engines and tacked on an extra stack to generate more power, as well as automating the coal insertion for ease of power. Using the new mining and furnace techniques, I build up the copper plate production zone with relative ease. It should output plenty for my basic starting components later on, and I do the same with iron. However, I also tack on some useful crafting setups for belts and gears as well as iron poles. I also added a copper coil crafter to the main copper line and added some more coal mining to increase supply, promptly before logging off. See you next time.